So we went backpacking in the desert with no trail. What could go wrong? I'm going to talk you through some different aspects of the trip and lessons learned as I walk you through this epic 3-day adventure. The trip itself started long before dark, because the best way to get to the middle of nowhere is to start early. The closer we got, the more beautiful, more rugged, and remote the terrain got. And soon, we were there. There was Maverick Junction, a little dirt road on the western edge of the park. We didn't have any actual hiking plans for day one, so as we waited for the rest of the group to arrive, we started exploring around the area, and the realities of hiking off trail were starting to set in. Anytime you go into the wilderness, you have to expect that some things won't go according to plan. People arriving late was just the first of many of those things. Big Bend National Park does this great thing where they have you talk to a ranger about your plans before they issue your permits, and the ranger we talked to wasn't too keen on giving us ours because we had very ambitious plans and a group of very mixed skill levels, ranging from Eagle Scouts to people who had never actually been hiking before.
It's all funny games. It's not all with that.
But the first night was easy on all of us. Made dinner basically on the road. We were camping just half a mile off the road. We got ready for bed, enjoying the beautiful starry nights, the clear skies, the howl of coyotes. We broke camp, had a quick breakfast, and pretty soon we were off, with the majestic Tule Mountain as our visual reference for the first part of our trip.
So when we fight the Balrog at halfway point, you have to go down with it.
Is that really how we want to go? I'll eat it. No.
From the point where we left the road till we rejoined the road way down here off the map, we were doing all this navigation by map and compass, trying to follow a route we'd planned ahead of time. The plan was to come up this dry drainage here, or one of the many dry drainages, and shoot for this pass between Tule Mountain on the left here and Burro Mesa on the right here. So a lot of rough terrain around them, but in between there's a little smoother pass, and that's what we were shooting for. There were a lot of these drainages, a lot of washes that we could potentially be in, and there was one that was significantly better than the others. So we actually stopped at one point, climbed up out of the wash. You can see most of the group down there. A few of us had climbed up out of the wash so that we could get a bearing on Tule and make sure that we were where we thought we were. We didn't see many animals, at least not many live ones. Part of that was probably from how big our group was. We definitely made some noise and scared things away. And one of the challenges of such a big group, especially off trail, was how to keep from losing people as we got spread out. And so we had a scheme to do that where we generally stayed in a line front to back, so we didn't wander much left to right. We had a rear guard would sweep behind us and make sure that we weren't missing anybody, that nobody had stopped, and then we had a radio from the lead to the rear guard so they could radio and stop the front of the column and this way we kind of kept everybody together. So I'm no expert in map and compass navigation, and this trip was a really great time to practice those skills. And we really only made one navigation mistake, in the sense that we didn't do what we planned. We were shooting for this point, and we came up. We were near where we wanted to be. We weren't sure if we were here or we were over here. We were kind of saw the land falling away in front of us, and we weren't sure which point we were at. And we learned firsthand one thing that a lot of like YouTube instructionals on navigation won't or will forget to tell you, is that where your two bearings are is very important. We're taking bearings off of Tule on the left here and the Mesa on the right, and those are 180 degrees apart. We're at the bottom edge of our map, so it was a little challenging to take a bearing south of us. The problem with having that 180 degree spread between our bearing points is that even a small error, a couple degrees in each bearing line, would move us around a lot. And so we actually took two sets of bearings, and one put us in one place we thought we might be, and one put us in the other place we thought we might be. And so we found that wasn't too helpful. So we took a lunch break to figure it out. We used our resources, our radios, our large group. We sent a little scouting party to check out the lay of the land, and decided we were in one place, but we were actually in the other. And so when we chose to move forward, we ended up in some really rough terrain. We realized really quickly that we were in the other place, but we decided that instead of backtracking, we would press on, just make it through the rough patches. We ended up going a good bit higher on the mesa than we'd planned, and that was really challenging with our heavy packs, but it was also really rewarding. And I'm glad that we did get to see that really rugged part of the mesa very, very much firsthand.
Dimming, is it bad that I've already drank 2 liters of my water?
No.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, he's got it.
He's leaving.
He's leaving us.
He started his journey of life.
Didn't want you to slice your hand open. A severe hand wound, we can probably patch it up.
We took a little break at the top, the highest point we reached, nowhere near the actual top of the mesa, and then we started our hike down. You'll see some of the packs got rain covers, some of them got garbage bags on, because we did actually get a little precipitation. It is the desert, but it turns out it does rain occasionally, and so we had to be prepared for that too.
I'm not, but. Alright, everybody out of the picture. Go.
Powering on?
Yeah.
Slow.
This thing back on. Yeah.
And we had quite the view. So one of the big plus sides of the route we decided to take, or ended up taking, was that the descent off into the valley was really spectacular. It wore us out pretty well, but it was pretty awesome. So we'd start off the day navigating by Tule Mountain, and then later transition to using both Burro Mesa and Tule for bearings. But once we came through the pass, we really didn't need the compass anymore. We just knew, based on what the map was showing us and the lay of the land, we could pick the easiest path to descend into the valley. So looking at the next map over, here was the bottom of Tule Mountain, the top left, Burro Mesa here on the right, and we came down right in between, and we're going to skirt the southern edge of Burro Mesa towards the road. We found this unnamed spring, a little north of Tule Spring, and continued right past it. Eventually got to Tule Spring. So it got to be much easier going once we got off the mesa and got up by Tule Spring, this little watering hole. But we were carrying plenty of water, which is generally good practice in the desert, and not to have to depend on any springs. And so, especially since it was cloudy, we didn't drink as much, so we didn't need the water. And we kind of came up to this set of ruins. It's marked on the map. That's right by Tule Spring, somebody's old watering hole.
Round up.
We lost him.
Now I'd grown a good bit more comfortable with our group's abilities, and we could spread out a little more and move a little faster. And we soon found a prospective campsite with some pretty good views.
He's athletic.
Right there.
He'll be fine.
It's just soft sand.
He just hurt
And it's like
himself.
a bunch of different
Who what fell out there?
We had originally planned to camp a little below Burrow Spring, and we were about a mile short of that. So a few of us decided that we would leave our packs at our new prospective site and just scout out towards Burrow Spring, see if we could find anything better. And it was definitely a beautiful area. We definitely found some interesting things just below the spring. Definitely some beautiful views, but it was also very rough going, and we were really glad we didn't have the packs for that. And so since we found this natural little reservoir with a drop off on the other side of the valley, we had to check just how deep it was.
And bees.
And piranhas.
Like a shark.
Shark eels.
out down there.
Even though we didn't need the water, we were interested to know just how much of it there was. Quite a bit, it turns out. So that marked the end of our little scouting expedition. Way too rough to try and make a camp up here. We went ahead and returned to our previous campsite to rejoin everybody else.
I'm the only one who lactates gold. That's the weirdest thing to hear.
Matthew just asked him this question.
So we were setting up camp. We'd done 7.5 miles off trail that day. My pack base weight was about 15 pounds, plus about 4 pounds of camera gear, plus the fact that we started the day with 12 pounds of water. Meant that, yeah, I was pretty tired when we got to camp. Oh yeah, and there was that 2 miles extra scouting. I was tired, and so was everybody else. So it was nice to sit around the stoves, get dinner prepared, relax, start telling stories and the like. We were camped not just 2 miles from the nearest road, but 2 miles from the nearest trail. It was a good feeling, a good end to a good day.
There's the poop.
Devin, you're getting a picture taken of serving
I
yourself
said
meatballs.
there's the poop.
Coming on. Just mix it.
You have to
Especially
again?
with all that cheese.
No, I haven't done it yet.
Devin, do you need one cheese?
Do it?
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
It's much better than the potatoes.
Looks like we will.
Hey, the Mexican hot chocolate tastes like chai tea.
Good grief.
Okay, that's enough, people.
Oh, it's about you.
I want to get that checked out when he
What
gets
is
back.
that?
I've become Rudolph in the worst way.